All right. So we got Facebook together. We got Twitter. We got YouTube. Twitch is giving me a little bit of a problem today. That Twitch is on. All right. It looked like we good. Robert Willis. You're always the first one in, Robert. And thank you. Thank you. I'm not saying that as a knock to you. I appreciate it. um, yeah, had issues yesterday. Looks like everything is going all right today. Uh Ben Boutachek Jones. I don't like that name, so I just had to call you Ben. But what's up? Um, yeah, it looked like we in here today. All right. Yeah, I had to delete it and then I had it going. Yesterday I did a little private show for just me, and everything was working good. And then when I went to go on again today, it didn't want to go on, so I had to delete it again and go back. I hope this doesn't become a thing. I'm gonna have to call Restream and let them know that I'm having problems. For those of you who just tune in on Facebook, I was here yesterday. I just couldn't get on Facebook yesterday, so I was live on really just YouTube. Really just YouTube. Um, Lincoln in support of vaccine morning drinks. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I didn't get a chance to check Lincoln out today. I normally do. I normally get a chance to listen to Lincoln. I didn't get a chance to listen to him today, but like the last maybe 7 to 10 minutes of his show. So that was all I got to check out today. And y'all know he always frustrates me. I like Lincoln Ware, but if I were there, Lincoln and I would have been arguing today. Because I don't like it when he does the, black people don't this, and black people don't, like we all think alike, like we all do everything alike, and all of that kind of stuff. I don't like when he does that. So black people don't like jury duty. I'm like, no, a whole lot of us would love jury duty. It's not, don't put it out there that we don't want to do it. Now, again, I've had the conversation about black people deciding that they don't want to do it. Of course, some black people not wanting to do it. But the idea that there are no black people who want to sit on juries and decide the fate of other black people, I don't like that. I don't like that. And when people say it like that, it bothers me. Oh, it was a joke based on him supporting the fourth shot. Oh, he's supporting the fourth shot. Well, of course he would. Of course he would. I said Lincoln would have sex with the vaccine if he could. He would have sex with that vaccine if he could. If there was a way, he would do it. So if they tell him every month he's got to get a shot, he will get one every single month. I would love an opportunity to sit on a jury. I would love an opportunity to, and I don't care who's on trial or what the case is. I would love an opportunity to be a part of the system, because I'd like to think I bring a perspective and I can listen to facts and make a decision based on the facts and the law. Now, I know that there are some. I know there are some people who can't do that. And of course, I know there are some people, white and black, who don't want to participate in the system in that way. There are some. I know that. But the idea that it's a black thing and black people don't want to be on juries. I talk to a lot of black people. Well, I talk to a decent number of black people. Let's say I talk to a lot of black people. Like I just walk around in the streets. Like, hey, you black? Let's talk. I don't do that. But I know a number of Black people, and we have these conversations. We have conversations about jury duty. We have conversations about voting. We have any conversation that I have on here with y'all, I have with my other Black friends and associates, as well as white friends and associates. So a lot of Black people would love an opportunity to be on a jury. Daryl says Lincoln didn't say he supports a fourth shot due to the fact that he said he caught COVID after getting the shot. He did say that by him getting the booster, it kept his symptoms to a minimum. Well, he doesn't know that. There's no way for him to know what his symptoms would have been had he not gotten the shot. And when people say that, I cringe just a little bit because, again, there's no way for you to know. There's no way for you to know. You couldn't possibly know. So what about all of the people who were asymptomatic and never got a vaccine before a vaccine even existed? They got the coronavirus. They were asymptomatic. So what are you telling them? The vaccine would have made them what? Would have made them what? Less than asymptomatic? So there's no way to tell. He might have had the exact same symptoms had he never taken the vaccine. There's no way to tell. There's no way to tell. Good afternoon, Veronica. Good afternoon. J. Rose said he definitely said he supports the fourth shot and would get it. Okay. Again, I didn't hear him, so I don't know. I'm just hearing two different sides of what y'all say. Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny? Apparently, both of y'all watched the show. DeWanda, good afternoon. Apparently, both of y'all watched the show. Both of y'all heard what he said. And one says he didn't say that he supports it, and the other one says he definitely said that he supports it. People really do kind of hear what they want to hear. Hey, good afternoon, E-Man. You signed off with the old show name yesterday. Did I do that? I've been trying to be real good about not saying the afternoon experience and saying the afternoon experiment. But you know, one of those things. I'm a human, and I guess a creature of habit. So if I say it every once in a while, just point it out to me. Point it out to me so that I can be much more careful about it after that. I did want to point something out before I begin to get into anything that I saw in the news. I wasn't on Monday. And on Monday, I got a few messages from people who seemed quite upset and disturbed by the fact that I wasn't on Monday. The fact that I wasn't on Monday. And even frustrated, borderline angry. Like, what kind of stuff is this? I'm getting sick and tired of having to look for you and find out whether or not you're gonna be on. And this is just getting annoying. And I'm like, whoa. Relax for just a minute and let's think about this for a second. Just for a second, let's think about this. This is not my job anymore. Like, now I'm doing this because y'all made me like doing this. Because y'all remember I wasn't going to do this part, the online part. I wasn't going to do this. The radio station had said, hey, do it. And I had said, no. And so for years, because y'all know Lincoln been doing it for years, they wanted me to start doing it when Lincoln started doing it. And I told them no, just because I didn't want to do it. And then y'all start saying, man, where's your online presence? Why can't we watch the show? Why can't we? And so because of that, I took all of that equipment that I had purchased for Lincoln Ware all of those years prior. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. So that's the only reason why I started the online portion. Well, okay, then I'm no longer employed at the radio station. I'm no longer a talk show host. It's not my job. I'm doing it for y'all. But keep in mind, I am technically unemployed still. I am still unemployed. I mean, I got to get out and look for jobs. I got to apply. I mean, especially now that I've applied for unemployment, like you got to show at least twice a week you tried to get a job. But I tried to get a job anyway. So technically, I am an unemployed dude sitting here spending a chunk of my day talking to y'all. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm saying I'm doing it because y'all and I enjoy it now. And when I get the calls going back, even though most of y'all never called anyway, but I will expect that maybe I'll get 1 or 2 calls from y'all here and there. But I'm saying be patient. Please be patient. If I have to not be on one day, be patient. And sometimes stuff come up at the last minute. Sometimes it's last minute. I get a call at 12:15 from somebody because again, I'm involved in a number of different things. I just don't put all my stuff out there like that. I'm involved in a number of different things. And so if I get a call at 12:30 and say, hey, I need you here by 1 o'clock, I'm gonna probably be there by 1 o'clock. And I might forget. To, post a no afternoon experiment today. Da, da, da. So that's why I say hit the notifications and everything. And if I'm on, I'll be on. And if I'm not, just be patient with me. Be patient with me. But the messages that I got, I wish I could go on my Facebook and show y'all the messages. I guess I could. I had to figure out how to do that. But yeah, yeah. Like I'm getting sick and tired. One day he on and the next day he ain't. Is you gonna do it or is you not gonna do it? And I'm like, "What? Relax. Be patient. Calm down. I'm doing what I can do. I don't get paid to do this no more. This is no longer my profession. I'm doing it for the love of the game now. For the love of the game. I'm not even putting up my cash app. I'm not even putting up my cash app. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no Venmo or what's the other stuff? What's the other stuff? Patreon or somebody said something about buying stars. I don't even know nothing about that. I didn't even look into it. But yeah, so just kick it with me. And when I can be on, I'm gonna be on. And when I can't be on, well, then I won't be on. But I don't necessarily want to just like leave y'all hanging, okay? I don't want to leave y'all hanging. Um, let me see. That means if they are seriously that angry about your absence, then funds need to begin flowing into your cash app to help support you not being employed. People they have expectations, and because it was my job. Because somebody said that is so unprofessional of you. That is so unprofessional of you. And I said, this ain't my profession no more. It ain't my profession no more. When it was my profession, then you could be like, that is unprofessional. But when it ain't your profession, I don't know if you can say unprofessional. I don't know if you can say unprofessional. But these folks think you're on Radio One schedule. You don't have to broadcast from your home. You doing for us. I know it's not a guarantee that you're gonna be here from day to day, but I want to be here from day to day. I do. I want to be here from day to day, and as I have the opportunity. Now, look. If I go out and find this job, trying to get this job, you pay me 6 figures. If I get that job and it's a regular old 9 to 5, I will not be on from 1 to 3. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry, I got to turn down that money because I gotta go online at 1 to 3. That's not gonna happen. Just so y'all know. Just so that there's no if, ands, or but about that. So if you're not on, that means they have to actually do work at work. Now it's cool. I just thought I would, put it out there and let people know, let people know that I'm not dissing y'all when I'm not on. But be patient with me because y'all was kind of mean. Um, how are you gonna place expectation on someone who's doing you a favor? I think maybe some people really genuinely still don't know. Because I do still run into people who don't know. And they people be like, "Oh, I was listening to your show on the radio yesterday, and you said," I'll be like, no, no, you wasn't listening to my show on the radio. And I didn't talk about whatever it was that you just said. So no, you wasn't. But I appreciate your fake support because that is fake support. It is fake support when you say, "I was listening to you on the radio." They never actually say what I said. "Oh, I was listening to your show on the radio yesterday, and you are so insightful." And I'm like, "Really? Thank you." Like, I wasn't on the radio yesterday. So maybe they was watching the stream. They wasn't watching the stream. They just people, they don't know I'm not on the radio anymore. They know I was on the radio at one point, and they're trying to show their support. They're trying to show their support, but it is funny to me. It is funny to me. What did I want to discuss? The Senate voted to basically condemn Vladimir Putin. And they making that like that was a huge deal. Like, hey, we crossed party lines to say that Vladimir Putin should be investigated for war crimes. How is that going to fly though, really, when a lot of y'all Republicans, are still supporting Donald Trump, who still is kind of lightweight supporting Putin. It's funny. I'm watching Fox News, and we can all see, when they started out, they were pro Putin. They were pro Putin, and now they have to shift away from being pro Putin, but they don't want to bring up the fact that Donald Trump is still kind of pro Putin. So now somehow, excuse me, now somehow Joe Biden is responsible for Vladimir Putin invading Ukraine because he's, according to what's her name? What is her name? Judge Pirro. Because according to her, he's a wuss. He's a wuss. Joe Biden is a wuss. And if Joe Biden wasn't such a wuss, Putin would have never invaded Ukraine. He didn't do it when Trump was in office because he knew that if he would have did it when Trump was in office, Trump would have did something to him. Come on, y'all. Don't nobody believe that. Don't nobody believe that. Trump would have said, remember the cyber attack, the election, Russian interference, and he says, well, my people said that it was Russia, but Putin said it wasn't him. And I don't see a reason why it would be. So basically, Putin said it, I believe it, that settles it. That's the guy that y'all believe kept Putin from invading Ukraine because Putin was scared of him. Come on now, that don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. And hey, let me tell y'all, I watch I listen to a lot of talk radio, and I watch the news. And here's what I've noticed. There is a difference. Wait a minute. Hold on. The fact is that he didn't. You can't argue with that. And I don't know. I'll go back to what I was about to say. I don't know that people understand facts. I don't know that some people understand facts. Okay, yes, the fact is that he didn't. But it's not just the fact that he did it. That doesn't mean that that's why. Like, the fact doesn't necessarily point to the cause. You understand what I'm saying? The fact doesn't necessarily point, like, no, he didn't invade Ukraine when Trump was in office. But that's not like he didn't invade Ukraine because Trump was in office. Do you know how many things have happened since Trump left office? And the idea that the only reason that those things happen, good, bad, or indifferent, is because Trump is no longer in office is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. And uh that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. It's almost like that shot concept you using. What are you talking about? Help me understand what you're talking about. I don't think that you understand how facts work. I don't think that you understand how facts work. It just doesn't make sense. Um, I bought a filing cabinet. I had to buy a new one because I didn't actually take delivery of the one that I bought because it was damaged in the corner and it said it was new. If it says it's new, I expect it to be new, not damaged. And then they didn't want to give me no money off. So I just left it there and said, give me my money back. But I bought a filing cabinet. But you didn't buy a filing cabinet when Trump was in office. So does that mean that I didn't buy a filing cabinet because Trump was in office? That's the same logic that you're using. That's the same logic that you're using. I'm trying to help him, Daryl. I'm trying to help him understand information. Like, people see information, people see numbers, and then they take those numbers to mean one thing. They take those numbers to mean one thing when there's no causation there. You can't, some stuff just, I didn't buy a filing cabinet because Trump is no longer in office. Just now is the time that I need a filing cabinet. But the idea that, well, you got to give Trump some credit because he didn't invade Ukraine when Trump was in office. It wasn't that time yet. He used Trump to set some stuff up, probably. He used Trump to attempt to weaken NATO. He used Trump to do a number of other things to set up the invasion. Possibly. Possibly. Logic Slayer says, good afternoon, Emanuel. Are you on Twitter? I am on Twitter. Yes. What is my Twitter at? Now look, don't get me to lie. If you ask me what is my Twitter, what address or whatever, I have to look it up. I'm looking it up right now. It is at, why is it that? That's kind of stupid. I don't know if you can change it. I guess they automatically generated this. Hold on, I'm gonna type it in. I guess I can. Can I copy it? You should just be able to look up my name, but the actual. Let me close this. I'm gonna type it in. This is just stupid. Like, I don't know that I'm gonna even be able to remember this. At Emanuel, what is it? At Emanuel Livingston 4. uh, so it's only, and I'm only posting uh, to Twitch and YouTube. So that means they make this thing so difficult. Well, I say they make it difficult, but it's not actually that difficult. At That would be uh, that would be the thing, the Twitter page. The whole time Orange was in office, Putin was making moves to get to this point. Exactly. Exactly. Strengthening his ties with China. Exactly. So, but okay, back to me listening and watching conservative talk and news. Here's what I realized about them. They're emboldened by their audience. I'm not breaking any new ground. Y'all all know this, but like Janine Pirro can go on Fox News and say Joe Biden is a wuss, and the reason that Putin invaded Ukraine is because Joe Biden was a wuss, and it's Joe Biden's fault, and Donald Trump would have kept him out, and all of that kind of stuff. And that audience will like take that and they will run with it. They will take that and run with it. They don't really question. Like Geraldo, it might be somebody on there with them who throw out like a little token challenge. Well, how do you know he wasn't playing Trump the whole time? That's ridiculous. And she goes bonkers and all that kind of stuff. But come on. If I tried that, if I tried that pro Biden, if I tried that, let's go back. If I would have tried that being pro Obama, y'all know, somebody on here or somebody on the air would have held my feet to the fire. Somebody would have said, nah, Emanuel, you know that ain't true. Why are you making stuff up? And I would have been forced to justify, not with some silly, weak justification. Like, I would have been forced to justify, to have the facts, to have the information, to substantiate whatever claim I made. And that's the good thing about being on this side. And when people are always like, why don't the Democrats do this? Or why don't the Democrats do that? Because I still hear that. Why don't the Democrats do this? Or why can't the Democrats just do that? Because they try to be honorable to some degree and hold each other's feet to the fire. I actually like Rachel Maddow. I know a lot of people don't. I like her show. But if she was coming with just straight made up stuff, like that's why she had to start her show out, laying out a factual basis for whatever it is that she's about to say. She don't have a choice. Because if she just come out and start saying stuff willy-nilly, even anti-Trump, just willy-nilly, people gonna challenge her. She's gonna lose credibility. And next thing you know, she won't be getting the views that she gets. Because on this side, and I'm not saying I'm a Democrat. I'm actually not a registered Democrat, although I typically lean to the Democratic side of things. And I believe the Republicans are a hate group, but you don't have to be a Democrat to have common sense. So on this side, the common sense side, I like the fact that we challenge each other. I like the fact that y'all would get on here and say, Emanuel, you must have misunderstood that story. Well, y'all don't actually say that. Y'all say, you don't know what you're talking about. But that's okay. That's okay. Like, instead of saying, I'll go back to my the Dave Chappelle story, where y'all like, see, you a hater, blah, blah, blah. Y'all was challenging me on that. And I was comfortable with that. I think y'all misunderstood what I was saying. But just the fact that I can't just come on here and say just anything, and because I said it, you believe it. That's the difference between what we do and what they do. And I appreciate what we do a whole lot more than what they do. And it sounds wild because they seem like they running roughshod over the Democrats. They are doing ridiculous things. They're painting these ridiculous pictures, stuff like like the reason Putin is invading Ukraine is because Joe Biden is the president and somehow it's his fault. They're allowed to do that because their audience allows them to do that and accepts it. They don't push back. So I say, I know there's a part of me that would love it if, quote, liberals, whatever, people with common sense would kind of roll that same way, because you want to see it feel good to see them get rolled over. You know what I'm saying? Like when you catch them real good, it feel good to see that happen. And I would love to see it kind of the other way. Us manipulate people and manipulate information and all that. And some people do it. Some people do it. But I like the fact that we challenge them. I like the fact that we challenge them. Even, and y'all know me, I even challenge people. I agree with you. I'm still gonna challenge you. I might agree with you. Like, you got to be like lockstep with me for me to not challenge you. And you know, I'm a challenge you kind of softball challenge. But what about the people who say? Because there's always people out there who say. But I like the fact that, you know, we challenge each other to be more correct with information. We challenge each other to be what's the word I'm looking for? To be accurate, to be honest, to have facts. I like that. It's hilarious that Putin's tactics sound vaguely familiar to Trump tactics of trying to control the false narrative. Yeah, and they're really concerned now that there's about to be a chemical weapons attack, because apparently Putin has started saying that Ukraine has chemical weapons. So, you know, that what was it? Zelensky said, look, if you want to know what Russia's about to do next, all you really need to do is pay attention to what Russia starts accusing other people of doing. It's that whole cheating thing. Like, if she keep accusing you of cheating, or he keep accusing you of cheating, it's a good chance they're cheating. It's a good chance that they're cheating. So, yeah. They kicked Liz Cheney out of the Republican Party because she challenged the Republican Party. Right. And that's why I don't appreciate Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. I don't appreciate some of the stances that they've taken. And I've heard people, well, the Republicans wouldn't put up with that. The Republicans wouldn't put up with that. That's the difference between those Democrats and the Republicans. That's the difference. They don't want them, that we don't want the Democrats to become the Republicans. My NCAA bracket is a banger. I'm about to take all these people's money. Somebody always believe that every year. And then the first day, they're like, oh, my bracket is busted. Yeah. Same thing Putin did in Syria. Same thing Trump did here. Politics. It's real. And there are a number of people, I promise you, I don't understand the people who fall for it. I don't understand the people who fall for it. I remember I was when I was taking political science classes, this was you know, sometime after 9/11. Sometime after 9/11, I was pursuing my degree, and we were in a class, and we were talking about current events. And those people were so bought in to everything George W. Bush was saying. And to the point that they were trying to shame me. Like, don't tell me that you're one of those people who actually believe that Iraq doesn't have weapons of mass destruction. Don't tell me you're one of those people. And then to kind of laugh, that the whole one of those people. I was like, I'm 100% one of those people, and I believe as time goes on, the facts will probably bear that out. But there are people who just wholeheartedly buy into all of this stuff. If you are still running around talking about the election was stolen, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You don't have any proof. You don't have any factual basis for this stuff. But Trump said it. And he keeps saying it, and you're just dumb enough to believe it. Especially if you were foolish enough to go up to DC on January the 6th and storm the Capitol. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. But we got a lot of idiots in this country. We have a lot of idiots in this country. And it gets me. Just think for yourself. I like Rachel Maddow. I don't go for everything Rachel Maddow says. Sometimes I'll be sitting there like, nah, Rachel. Now you might be looking at facts, but you're not looking at this stuff right. I don't agree with you, Rachel. Okay, Rachel, you was right on that one, but no, you wrong on this one. How did you come to that conclusion? You know what I'm saying? The fact that because I agree with your general political view doesn't mean that I agree with the specifics of everything that you say. But somehow these Trump supporters and Trump sympathizers, that's how they roll. That's how they roll. I will say that Rachel Maddow's program reminds me of a Scooby-Doo episode when Fred is about to pull the mask off the perpetrator, but it just seems like the perp escaped Rachel every time. I don't know exactly what that means. Hold on, let's see. Biden made blacks hate Trump, just like he convinced blacks would get reparations, and y'all believe both lies. That's just stupid. See, that's what I'm saying. There are some idiots in the world. There are some idiots. And I don't understand the idiots. Like, that is idiotic. That is idiotic. But I believe that there are people who actually believe that stuff. But here's what the basis of that belief is. Because you believe everything that Trump says, you believe that we'll believe everything that Biden says or that Biden's spokespeople say. And because you believe the stupidity that comes from the likes of Fox News and so on and so forth, you believe that Biden actually convinced black people that they was going to get reparations in his administration. Not because Biden said so, but because Fox told you that black people believe that. Whereas Fox doesn't have their finger on the pulse of black people. They just making stuff up to throw out there, and then you hear it and you roll with it because you're an idiot. And that's what you do. So then you come on a show like this and say some idiotic stuff like Biden made blacks hate Trump. What did Biden do to make blacks hate Trump? Nothing. He just, other than letting Trump be Trump, we as people, and of course as individuals, most of us are able to look at a thing and assess it for ourselves. So when you got Fox News telling you that this is what black people think, don't believe it. I mean, it might be true, it might not. But if Fox tells you, don't believe it because Fox said it. Or some conservative media outlet here locally, 700, because 700 tells you this is what black people think. Don't believe that to be true. They don't know what black people think. They don't know. But, you hear it and you're convinced that they said it, so it must be true and they must know what we think. But that's not the case. That's not the case. Why do black Republicans call other black people y'all when they make their argument that they're no longer black? What am I missing here? They're not saying that they're no longer black. They're saying, again, look, I'm a black Republican for this example. I had to be clear about that. I'm not a black Republican. But for this example, I'm a black Republican and I believe anything that Fox says. And I believe anything that, well, they can't believe him now, he's dead. But they believed anything that Rush Limbaugh said. And so if Fox and Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, so on and so forth, say, black people think this. Here's how their mind processes it. Hold on, I'm black. So all of those other blacks believe this. Because they're not talking about me because I don't believe it, but I know they wouldn't lie about what black people think. So all of those other black people believed that they were going to get reparations when Joe Biden got inaugurated. And then you turn to black people and you say, why do y'all believe that? Because they buy in so hard and fast to what they're being told. They're idiots. They really are idiots. I apologize. I'm late to the party. And why aren't you on the buzz anymore? See, told y'all, it's just some people that don't know. I am not on the buzz anymore because I did not get vaccinated. And they have a policy, and that's that. It's simple. Let me see. Since I've been off work, been watching a lot of stuff, and people just stupid. Yeah, people are. People are. What's Rachel Maddow's bra size? What? I don't even understand that question. I don't even understand that question. He or she isn't answering questions today. Thinking more and more that we are attempting to have a conversation with a Russian bot named Drago. Let's see. Some people so smart they stupid. Well, you will never be accused of that. You're not so smart that you're stupid. You just seem stupid. Some people are so stupid that it's okay to call them stupid. The way that you're talking today, you definitely fit that category. You definitely fit that category. Definitely not the so smart that you're stupid. Not at all. Let me see. William says, thank you, sir. Okay, no problem. See, so stupid that you're stupid. You're not on the buzz because Biden. Is that a fact? That is absolutely not a fact. How was your phone call with the man the other day? Oh, yeah. I talked about that yesterday. The man was a white woman, and that white woman hooked me up. So we'll see what happens from here. Some people said that I talk about the gun bill. I forget which number. Was it 215? I don't remember which number. I have problems remembering that. But I haven't talked about it yet. It's some stupid people in the chat, but they be right in their head 100% of the time. All right. Just tuned in, and Emanuel already taking shots, calling folks stupid. I'm not taking shots. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. There are, Myosha, would you agree that there are stupid people in the world? And we can solve this, because people think when you call somebody stupid, you're taking a shot. When you call somebody stupid, you're taking a shot. And I can see how one would believe that. But I think we all agree that stupid people exist. Don't we? Don't we? Show of hands. Do stupid people exist? Yes or no? Do stupid people exist? I'm sorry, I can't see y'all now. I'm still training my eyes. See, I had my ear. When I was on the radio, I could see y'all. I know that don't sound like it makes sense, but when I was on the radio, I could see y'all. And I would say, raise your hands, and I would see people raising their hands. But do we agree that stupid people exist? And if we agree that, Jerica says, no, stupid people do not exist. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. I think we have a fundamental disagreement there. Why do you not believe that there are stupid people in the world? There are stupid people in the world. And someone's gonna say, well, define stupid. I'm beginning to be able to hear y'all. Let's look it up. Stupid definition: having or showing a great lack of intelligence or common sense. That is the definition. Well, I guess according to Webster's here, having or showing a great lack of intelligence or common sense. So with that definition, because that fits to me, with that definition, you're telling me that there are no people in the world that show a lack of intelligence or common sense? Of course they do. Yes, there are stupid people in the world. And so when you start to show your lack of intelligence and or common sense, it's not a shot to call you stupid. People make stupid decisions and have ignorant concepts, but I don't believe there are stupid people. So you don't believe that there's anyone in the world who has or shows a lack of intelligence or common sense? Really? Okay. Everybody's got a right to their opinion. Everybody's got a right to their opinion. See, and having a different opinion doesn't necessarily make you stupid. Being stupid makes you stupid. E-man, I'm stupid, but you don't know if you're coming or going. That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. Sissy Tiger says, trust me, sis, there are. Because we've been convinced that it's just rude to say that someone is, I mean, even ignorant for a time. Like if you said someone was ignorant, then people would be like, oh, that's just so mean. That's so rude. You're just being nasty. Like, no, look up what it means. And there you can be ignorant. There are things that I am ignorant about. So, I mean, that just is what it is. They can put that word down as your reason for termination. They could. Someone would say, I lacked common sense in taking a stand, my religious views and my view on the vaccine. So not taking the vaccine showed a lack of common sense or intelligence. Sure, someone could say that. Yeah. I wouldn't agree with them, but they could say it. They could say it. Cincy Tigress says, okay, let me hop on the Facebook chat because nah. I'm not sure what you about to do over there. I don't know. Somebody would like to push back just a little bit on Jerica, just to say there's a grown man that says he's a vampire. Oh, that's all in fun. That's all in fun. You fight the wrong fight. Okay. Um, is it low IQ or stupid or just uneducated on the subject matter? Again, let's look at the definition. Having or showing a great lack of intelligence or common sense. It doesn't have to be both. Showing a great lack of intelligence or common sense. And it could, again, it's having or showing. That means either of. It means either or. So even if you have a great amount of intelligence and common sense, but you don't show it, if your actions show the opposite, then yeah, you could easily be considered stupid. By definition. By definition. So that's just the definition. And if you saying to me that the reason why Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine is because Joe Biden became the president, that sounds stupid to me. That sounds stupid. If you are saying that because of Joe Biden, Black people hate Donald Trump, which I argue Black people don't hate Donald Trump. I don't hate Donald Trump. I don't hate that guy. But if your argument is, if there are people who do hate him, it's only because of Black people. It's only because of Joe Biden. And that somehow, the fact that Black people believed that when Joe Biden got elected, we were going to get reparations. If that's your view, yeah, you're stupid. You're stupid. Stupid can be cured. Just get some common sense, or at least present yourself like you got some common sense. Present yourself like you got some common sense. That's it. You buying into politics is stupid. It's rich people who couldn't tell you who all these politicians are. Again, I'm not sure. See, with regard to that, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. Crystal says, I just left a whole meeting with a stupid MF. I assure you they exist. Just dumb as a box of rocks. So if the majority of us agree that stupid people exist, if the majority of us agree that stupid people exist, when someone presents themselves that way, how is it wrong to call them what they are? I'm not ashamed to say a person who's showing themselves to be stupid is stupid. We don't hate Donald Trump. We just know that he's a racist. Michael Cohen, his right-hand man, told us, and I didn't even need his right-hand man to tell me. Like I knew a long time ago. And then after he became president, then we got some more information to kind of verify that. But hold on, the gun bill that got signed into law, the gun bill that got signed into law. I think I'm pretty much on record on this one. I support it. I support it. I heard I heard Nicole. I heard Nicole on the Lincoln Ware show. I think it was yesterday. And she was giving out all of these numbers. She was giving out all of these numbers. And I didn't get a chance to look up all of those statistics. But I would say those numbers, again, are just numbers. Those numbers are just numbers. You would have to, because she said something, again, I don't remember the numbers, so I might just be making this up. But she said something to the effect that a number of those states, when you look and they passed this type of law, crime went up like 11% in those states. That's what she said. I believe it was 11%. I believe that was the number. And people was like, facts, facts. Hate when people say facts, just because a lot of times they say it when people aren't even stating facts. They're just stating opinions that they agree with. But I understand that that's what it is. But you really got to look into that. And maybe I will. Maybe I will at some point. But like, okay, Ohio passes this law, and it gets signed into law this week. So maybe in what, a year, 2 years, someone looks and someone says, statistically speaking, crime went up in Ohio by 11%, or murders or whatever, gun violence went up in Ohio by 11% after this law got signed. And that, again, we're just making the assumption 2 years from now, someone will be able to say that, and that it will be factual. But then you got to look around the rest of the country. Did crime around the rest of the country go up also from this time in 2 years? You know what I'm saying? So you can isolate Ohio and say, hey, crime went up 11% after they passed that bill or passed that law. But then if you look at other states that didn't pass the law, did their crime go up as well? What did the national crime rate do in that same time period? So just because it's a fact, doesn't mean, again, it goes back to Donald Trump left office, therefore Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. The two are not necessarily tied together. They passed this gun law, therefore crime went up, gun crimes went up. Those two aren't necessarily tied together. Not necessarily. I'm not saying that they're 100% aren't, but you really got to get into the numbers to kind of find out what's going on. And, you know, homicides going up 11%. Depending on the numbers, that could be a small number of crimes. Maybe even one act of criminal activity where that number kind of boosts the numbers. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying it's something that you have to think about, because you don't really know. And just throwing out numbers is good to scare people. It is good to scare people. But you got to look into those numbers. Y'all know I don't like statistics anyway. I never liked it as a class. And I don't like it as a practice for the most part. It can be helpful, but statistics are easily manipulated. Statistics are easily manipulated. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at a thing, something that the Democrats were doing, and this was their if I thoroughly understand it, because I really just kind of glanced at it. Republicans are trying to hit Democrats and say, that the cities with the highest crime rates are led by Democrats. So Democrats are terrible for crime, and so they're going to do this big push about coming up in the midterm elections about how people should vote Republicans if they are anti-crime. Because look at all these cities led by Democrats and look at the crime rate. And one could make that argument. Like, that's an argument that somebody could say, wow, Democrats are soft on crime. Well, what the Democrats did was the Democrats said, all right, well, let's look at these states that are led by Republicans statewide. And these have the highest murder rates per capita. And that's like, if you look at the 50 states or the 20 whatever states that voted for Trump and the 20 whatever states that voted for Biden, and you look at their crime rates, the ones that voted for Trump are higher significantly. I think it was like 8 point something people per 100,000 in the ones that voted for Trump, and like 5 point something people per 100,000 in the states that voted for Biden. I believe those numbers are right. I don't remember what the point is, but I believe those are right. So the argument could be made that it's the Republicans that are soft on crime because in the states that they lead, and that's with these murder capitals even included in. That's even factoring in Chicago and Detroit and Los Angeles and New York. You know what I'm saying? You look at these huge centers of homicide, and you even put those in the Joe Biden pot, the Republican pot is still higher per capita. The point of me saying that is you're talking statistics and numbers. And when you're looking at numbers and statistics, depending on how you parse the numbers, you can almost make the numbers say whatever it is that you want them to say. Not to mention, one of my big issues with statistics is when we're talking about, like crime stats and all that kind of stuff, that stuff is voluntary. So if Cincinnati just decide they don't want to report the homicides to the FBI for their crime statistics, they don't have to. They legit don't have to. Now, of course, a city the size of Cincinnati, and especially since we went to the Super Bowl, a city with the notoriety of Cincinnati. I just had to throw that in there because I got a bone to pick with some of y'all Super Bowl people in a minute. But a city with the notoriety of Cincinnati could not report. I mean, they could, but they really couldn't. People would look at it like, wait a minute, that would be like Chicago not reporting their homicides to the FBI for their statistics. People would be like, these numbers can't be right. Chicago didn't even report. But it is voluntary. Again, it's not mandatory. Don't believe that it's mandatory because it's not. So a city like Cincinnati, Chicago, so these big cities, they kind of got to report, right? There's a city like, I don't know, St. Bernard a city? Does St. Bernard have to report? Say St. Bernard don't report their statistics. You would imagine it's not a whole lot of people in St. Bernard, but that might be one or two. And then if you get enough St. Bernards, I'm picking on St. Bernard. I don't know nothing about their crime stats. But if you get enough St. Bernards, you can legit affect the crime stats. Which is why they, so-and-so percentage of all the homicides are committed by Black people. Well, you don't know that. You don't know that. How about you say so-and-so percentage of all of the reported, because there's no mandate that anybody report any of this stuff. So the numbers aren't necessarily the numbers. That's why I hate when people I understand it because, it's numbers and you figure numbers don't lie, but numbers might not lie. But the people who reporting the numbers might lie about what the numbers are. They might fudge the numbers a little bit. So yeah, I can't buy into statistics in that way. I can't buy into statistics in that way. So from my perspective, this gun law, I still support it wholeheartedly. I I believe I should be able to get me a gun and carry me a gun if I choose to get and carry a gun. I don't believe that I should have to take a test or pass a this or go get training or any of that kind of stuff. I don't believe it. I don't believe it to be the case. And of course, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And somebody will look at my opinion and say, that's not valid. Not for my life, not for my lifestyle, not for the people that I know. But as far as I'm concerned, again, people who want to get guns are going to get guns. People who want to get guns are going to get guns. I think somebody was saying that it was like 2,000 people. 2,000 people. I don't know if this number is actually correct, but somewhere around 2,000 people attempted to get, and I don't remember if that was statewide in Ohio or if that was nationwide. I don't remember. But let's say statewide. 2,000 people attempted to get a concealed carry license or attempted to purchase a gun and didn't pass a background check. 2,000 people. And, yeah, we stopped those 2,000 people who had some issue. We stopped them from getting a gun. Great. If they want a gun, though, they can still just go get a gun. Like they just tried to do it the legal way. They tried to do it the legal way. And the legal way, we said, no. Trust me, if I wanted a gun and I go the legal route and they say, no, cuz you can't get no gun. You don't qualify. You got a mental problem. I'm like, all right, I got a mental problem. All right, I got a felony. All right, I got a whatever. I can still go get me a gun. And now I'm definitely going to conceal it. Like, I see people from time to time, not a whole lot around here, but I see people from time to time carrying a gun on their hip. Well, if I was rejected to purchase a gun and I go get one anyway, you definitely ain't gonna know I got it. The criminals don't typically let just run-of-the-mill people walking down the street know that they got a gun. They kind of conceal it. So I'ma still get me a gun. I'ma still carry it concealed. What did you really do? But push me into the back alley. You know what I'm saying? Now I got to go find a different way to get a gun. Now I got to find a different way, but I'm going to find a way if I want one. And come on, we all know there's plenty guns out there that anybody who want a gun can get a gun. We all know that, don't we? So I like the law. I like the law. See, Trina says you could be considered stupid, though. I left that up there just because it entertained me. Um, but yeah, anybody who want a gun can get a gun. I'm for it. I'm for it 100%. I don't, but the statistic that 70% of Black kids are born without a father in the home, it never did sit right with me. And where are they getting these numbers? I saw this young girl had one on her hip in Kroger. And you should be able to. And you should be able to carry one. You should be able to carry one. Anyone who wants that work can get that work. All right. I'm not sure what you're talking about because you say ridiculous things. Um, let's see. Uh, Jack says to Daryl he hasn't watched much NCAA basketball. Here we go. Roy, totally against the bill because it doesn't require people to have any type of mandatory safety training on how to handle a weapon. And I shouldn't have to have mandatory safety training on how to handle a weapon. I shouldn't have to. Why do I need it? I figure it out. I've never had any mandatory safety training. I have a weapon. I've never shot anybody, never accidentally shot myself. I know how to read. You know what I'm saying? So I can look up the different things that I need to look up to figure out how to safely handle it, clean it, and all of that kind of stuff. I don't need the mandatory safety training. I just don't. What about learning the gun laws? Isn't that important? I can look them up if I want to. Or learn them the hard way. But my argument is the overwhelming majority of people who have guns, number one, you don't know that they have guns. Number two, they're not really just carrying them around for fun. They're not really just carrying them around for fun. And they may or may not know the law. They may or may not know the law. So guess what happens? They inappropriately display or carry their weapon. Most times they get away with it because, as long as they're not like brandishing it or anything like that or get caught up in a bad situation, it's not that big of a deal. And in other cases, okay, maybe they get a fine or something like that. Maybe they get in some trouble. Maybe they even get shot because they didn't handle their weapon right. Well, that's on them. That's on them to figure that out. But again, I can look up the gun laws. I can look them up. Here's what I know. Don't break in my house. What I'm saying? That's most of the people that I know who have weapons. Don't break in my house and don't make me feel like my life is in danger. Why do I need a safety class and a law class to protect my home and to protect my person and to protect my family? Why do I need that? Come on, E-Man. All is knowing. He doesn't have to learn anything. He can teach himself. Oh, E-Man is all knowing. He doesn't have to learn anything. He can teach himself. I'm not all knowing. I'm approaching that category, but that's a different conversation. I'm not all knowing. I'm not all knowing. Look, I don't know every gun law that's on the books. I don't. But here's what I know. Don't break in my house. And I should be able to have my gun in my house. Here's what else I know. Don't attack me and put my life or my loved ones' lives in danger. I don't need to know every gun law on the books. But if I want to, y'all do realize people can look this stuff up. Like the laws are not a secret. The laws are not a secret. That's like a broke person telling people to sign up for their financial wellness course. All right. Um, Anthony says, uh, double out buckshot ain't no joke at close range. I'm just saying, uh, because Nat says the gun manufacturers lobby uh, for legislation using white nationalist fear. Okay, that's fine. And again, I'm in the unenviable position of agreeing with a premise or agreeing with a conclusion while not necessarily agreeing with the initial premise. Remember, was it yesterday? I said I am for the what they're calling the don't say gay law in Florida. I'm for that. I don't agree with the reason why they passed it because they hate homosexuals. I don't agree with that. But I agree with the conclusion, with the law that says you can't teach pre-K through third grade about homosexuality because you shouldn't be doing that. And it's not because I hate homosexuals, it's because you shouldn't be doing that. I guess I'm the same here. I believe if I or anyone else wants to purchase a gun and carry their gun, they should be allowed to. Now, I don't believe this because I believe that there's some black menace running around killing everybody. I don't believe this because of any of those reasons. I believe it just because I believe it's the way it should be. Just because I believe it's the way it should be. So, yeah, I find myself again in an unenviable position. Or unenviable, not sure which one it is. Position of agreeing with them, not based on the premise of white fear, but just on the premise of this is the way, according to what I believe the Constitution says and what a number of other people believe the Constitution says, this is the way it should be. Why are we so, and when I say we, I mean Americans, we are eager to limit our rights. We are eager to limit our rights. I heard when Stefan was talking about he went to City Hall and he had to show ID. And he spoke out against that. And I was like, yeah, that's what's up. But I saw and heard other people saying, why wouldn't you have to show ID to walk into City Hall? Like, take our rights. Take our rights from us, please. No, you shouldn't. Like, why should I have to show my ID to walk into a public building? A building that I own. Why should I have to show my ID to do that? Walmart, if Walmart want me to show my ID to walk in there as private business, I should have to show my ID. But a public building that I help pay for, that I own in part, why do I have to show my ID to walk into a public building? But we some of us Americans are like, we need somebody to regulate us. What happened to the concept of less government? Did we not never believe in that? Did we think that that was crazy? Y'all want more rules just for the sake of having more rules because they can. You know that the more rules that you have, or at least this is the way that I view it. This is the way that I view it. The more rules that we have, the more opportunity that you have to break those rules. So that's more opportunity to get you hemmed up. That's all that is to me. Crystal says, I'm not sure that's the same thing, E-Man. Of course it is. Of course it is. I'm not even 100% what you're talking about, sure what you're talking about, but if I said it, trust me, it's right. Not just here, Emmanuel, many others outside the US are okay with losing their rights. And I don't understand it. Jeannie says, but it's a city government building. Who's the government? Like you put government in caps, like that make a difference. Who's the government? You know, those people down there, they supposed to work for you. The representatives are supposed to be there to represent you. You are the government. I am the government. He is the government. She's the government. Well, we say government like it's some mystical, magical thing that doesn't include us. It's supposed to. We're supposed to be represented there. That means I'm just picking out him because I know him. When Scotty walked down there, Scotty ain't no higher than me. I mean, he's taller than me, but Scotty ain't no higher than me. Guess what? Scotty is there to represent me. I mean, I said, hey, Scotty, come here. Let's rap a taste. Go down there and tell him this and tell him I said so. You know what Scotty's job is? Scotty's job is to go down there and say, hey, Emanuel said this. Because he represents me. It's a government building. All that means is that it's a public space where they do government business. That's it. If they decided to do government business on the square, do that mean I shouldn't be allowed to go down there without showing ID too? If they decided to do government business on the sidewalk, do that mean I shouldn't be allowed to go on the sidewalk without showing ID? It's a public space. It's a public space. I'm not sure what y'all think that this stuff is. So if it's the citizens building, shouldn't it be protected? They got metal detectors. How does knowing my name protect you? Explain that to me. How does showing you my ID protect you? Because guess what? If I want to go in there and do something, I'm already walking in with the idea, what could I be doing? What could I be doing? What's the worst thing that I could be doing? Going in there shooting somebody or something? I'm already functioning under the premise that if I walk in City Hall and I shoot somebody, I'm getting captured. They're going to have my ID once they capture me. So what is showing you my ID going to do? Showing you my ID don't protect nobody. It just takes away my right to be anonymous. That's all it does. That's all it does. But what's the problem with showing an ID? It takes like 5 seconds. Oh, this is the worst argument, Glenn. Oh my goodness. So, okay. I know y'all gonna say it's not the same thing. And it's not the same thing, but I would answer your question with a question. You walking down the street, minding your own business, not breaking any laws, in a public space. Police come up and say, show me some ID. Should you have to do that? I think most of us would agree, even though some of y'all don't, which is sad. Most of us would agree, no, they should have to have a reason to stop you and get your ID. But what's the big deal? It only take 5 seconds. Just show me your ID, right? Right? No, I got a right to be anonymous. I have a right to, I don't remember the wording in the Constitution, but to be secure in my papers. I don't remember the wording. That's a right that I have. Y'all just want to give up y'all rights. When I say y'all, I don't mean everybody. I mean some of you who are not understanding this. Of course not. Don't be ridiculous. It's as ridiculous. Hold on. What's the difference? City Hall is a public space. The city street is a public space. They should be able to demand that I show ID in a public space is what you're saying. So you tell me what's the difference. You tell me what's the difference. That's different than walking in a government building and walking down the street. What's the difference? What's the difference? Tell me what the difference is. They're both public. What, one is because they do some government business there? And somehow, therefore, I lose my rights because that's a public building where they do some government business? Don't y'all understand that that's ridiculous? How can you be anonymous conducting business at City Hall? I can walk in. I could say, I need to file a public records request, which I'm allowed to do anonymously. I can not put my name on it, give them an email that does not identify me, and have them send me my public records anonymously. That means, who requested this record? It don't matter, a member of the public. That's the way it's supposed to work. You should be able to just walk down there and say, hey, give me that information right there. Let me see it. And if it's not some confidential personal information of somebody else, like the city budget, like I'm going to go down there and I'm going to put in a public request. I want to know the name of every city employee and how much money they make. Every city employee and how much money they make. Because guess why? Well, what you going to do with the information? Don't matter. It don't matter. It's public information. I got a right to it. And I shouldn't have to tell you who I am and where I live and my social security number and my driver's license number and show you 2 forms of ID to get public records. That's what this is about. Yes, you can walk and conduct business at City Hall anonymously. Or at least you should be able to. Or at least you should be able to. Robert says you haven't committed a crime. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand how y'all don't understand this. Or why there's any pushback about it. And in my mind, this is the mindset that we all should have. Now, look, I'm not necessarily talking about unreasonable. Like, they have this daggone coronavirus restricted areas that I can't go into for a reason. Like, I know Glenn don't live in Cincinnati, so I'll use Glenn. I shouldn't be able to just go in and get all of Glenn's information, his tax records and his address and his social security number and all of that kind of stuff. I shouldn't be able to do that. So they have to protect people's records. Okay? They have to. They have to. I understand that. There are certain places that I shouldn't be able to go. But the places where the public is allowed to be, I should be allowed to be there, and I should be allowed to be there anonymously, just like walking down the street. Just like walking down the street. I should be able to do that. And short of some reasonable, articulable suspicion that I've committed a crime, that I am committing, have committed, or is about to commit a crime, they shouldn't be able to identify me. They shouldn't be able to identify me. That doesn't work. That's why there's rules, because people violate. But it should be. It should be. But the reason is because y'all cool with it. enough of y'all, I should say, are cool with it and will even, I guess, until it's y'all. And even some of y'all then would be like, well, they had to do it. They had to do it. Wait a minute. Where is? Okay, so when we protesting, they need to smell our cologne. Well, the way that I'm gonna protest is I'm gonna exercise my rights. That's my protest. That's my protest. I go places. I go places and I don't follow unlawful rules. Your walking down the street analogy is a bad one in comparison. It's not. It's an amazing one in comparison. See, because y'all looking at some of y'all looking at the building like it's some super special place. It's not. It's not. It's public. It's as public, with some slight restriction as the sidewalk. When it's open to the public, it should be treated just like the sidewalk. Just like the sidewalk. I should be able to walk in a public area and not break any laws and not be identified, not be accosted. And I really don't understand what makes y'all think that a government building, government, caps, government, a government building is where you lose your rights or where you surrender your rights. What make y'all believe that? It was an amazing comparison. Amazing. And y'all just don't, it bothers me that y'all don't see it. That really does bother me. So since y'all saying that it's not, y'all saying that it's different, explain to me the difference. Somebody, in all of your wisdom, explain to me the difference between being in this public space and being in that public space. And why, because this is the key, why I have to surrender my rights to be in the public area of City Hall. If somebody can explain that to me, I would appreciate it. Glenn says it's a horrible comparison. Then explain to me the difference. Not just saying one is a building and one ain't. They're both public spaces. Yeah, no, I had to do this from time to time. Are they both public spaces? Am I allowed to be in both? It's a public space that I'm allowed to be in. So explain to me why I have to give up my rights. Explain it. It's business conducted inside the building and the records contained within the building. But hold on, I've already acknowledged that. That's why I said a public space that I'm allowed to be. See, y'all missing this. Okay, I can't, where you go, I don't even know if you still do it down there, where you go pay your water bill. I can't jump behind the counter. That would be problematic. But to stand in that hallway, I'm 100% legal being there. So explain to me standing in the hallway and me standing on the sidewalk. They're both public spaces where I'm allowed to be. I'm not talking about going in a restricted area. I'm talking about a space where I'm allowed to be. Explain the difference. There's no business, no official business that should be done in the hallway in full view of everyone. So explain to me the difference. Somebody said great analogy. Okay, public sidewalk in present time has cameras mounted. Uh, shot fire. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what that means. Um, so do you expect to enter the White House without showing some ID? That's not a public space that I'm allowed to be. That's a restricted area all itself. Again, y'all missing the simplicity. Y'all missing the simplicity of it's a public space where I'm allowed to be. A public space where I'm allowed to be. Not restricted areas, because there are restricted areas of City Hall. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about a public space where I'm allowed, where the public is allowed to be. I, this stuff don't seem hard to me. You don't have to show ID to get into the courthouse or 800 Broadway. Well, according to these people, you should, because there's business done there. You should have to show ID because there's business done there. You know, when I go over on Spring Grove to pay my water bill and I walk into that public lobby to pay it, somebody should be there and force me to show ID, according to these people. It's scary to me that many people don't understand what you're saying. This is why government officials don't feel the need to commit to their constituents. Right, right. I was watching artists where a man was filming in a public space in a government building and they called the police and there was nothing they could do because he could be in a public area. Well, not according to these people. He should have been arrested. Because y'all know there's people that don't want you to film in a public space either. They don't even want you to film. I'm not making this up. Y'all gonna say it's horrible. But if you standing across the street on a public sidewalk, I've seen people get arrested for filming a building. So, like, if I went and stood across the street from District 1 with my phone and was filming, y'all think I should be arrested for that, don't y'all? Well, there are people, and that's the direction that y'all headed. And that's not even, oh, you making stuff up. No, I've seen it. I've seen it happen. How is the White House not a public space? It's restricted. It's restricted. Just like there are places in City Hall that are restricted where you're not allowed to go because of the sensitivity of the information or whatever the case may be. They are allowed to have sensible, reasonable, restricted areas. I'm not arguing against that. The thing that I'm arguing about, the thing that I'm arguing against is an area that's not restricted, that I have a right to be in. And then they say, well, but you can only use this area if you ID. Because once we just decide that it's cool for all public spaces to have to ID you, we just gonna be walking around showing everybody our ID. Krista says, nope, that's not what these people are saying. It's exactly what y'all saying. Y'all just don't know it. Y'all just don't know it. You still go to Spring Grove to pay your bills. Sometimes I do, yeah. I don't always do it online. Sometimes I like to walk in and give them actual cash. I will go to the bank first. I will get some money and I will go there and I will pay my bill. That's it. No one said that you should be arrested. Now you're playing the instant victim card. Well, it's not a huge leap. It's not a huge leap. And again, I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. I'm sure the information kept within City Hall is more sensitive in nature than your waterworks account. How do you come to that conclusion? Number one. And then number two, you keep missing. I don't know why. Some of y'all can't get this part through y'all head. I'm trying to think of how I can do it other than because I work under the assumption that y'all are like intelligent people, but sometimes y'all act like y'all not. So I'm trying to think of a way to say it like I would explain it to that little baby who's 4. And I would really just tell her the same thing. Like, if there's an area where you're allowed to be, hopefully they don't keep the sensitive information in the hallway at City Hall. Hopefully they keep that put in a space where somebody walking through the hallway can't see it. The sensitive information, whatever that may be, your social security number. Hopefully that's not just posted in the hallway at City Hall, right? Maybe that's just me. I'm hoping that. Do y'all hope that? Do y'all hope that? Or are y'all under the belief that the sensitive information they should be able to just keep that in the hallway at City Hall? Because I don't know how y'all not getting this. They should keep private information private. That is their responsibility. So I should be able to walk through the halls of City Hall just like I walk down the street. I can't go into a restricted area, but I should be able to walk down the hall. I hear what you're saying. I just don't care about all of that. and that becomes the problem. So again, Crystal, using this logic that you just laid out, I hear what you're saying. I just don't care about all of that. My ID and information is clean and square. All right, you don't care. You don't care. That's your logic. You don't care about being illegally identified. I call it illegally identified because your information is clean and square. So when you are walking down the street and the police, for no reason, say, show me your ID, you don't have a problem showing them your ID. Some of us who actually value our privacy and our rights don't want the police to just be able to walk up and demand our ID at any time for no reason. Now, okay, we disagree, Crystal. We disagree. But Crystal, you just said you don't care. You just said you don't care. How do you not guess who's standing there, or at least the last time I went, standing there at the door of City Hall? It was not a security guard. It was a police officer asking me to sign in. They weren't asking for ID, asking me to sign in. It was a police. So wait a minute. You got an issue if the police ask you for ID. But if the police ask you for ID, then that's okay. I know that didn't make sense. Like, I didn't mess up. You saying if you walking down the street, not breaking any laws, the police shouldn't walk up to you and ask you for ID because you in public and you ain't did nothing wrong. But if you walk in City Hall, not breaking any laws, going to a space public that you're allowed to be, well, then the police should be able to ask you for ID. The police are different, and you know damn well why. They're not different. That's who's standing there asking you for ID. Or at least last time I went, again, it wasn't a security guard, it was the police. So are you against showing the police your ID, or are you against showing the police your ID? I'm exhausting. All I'm doing is stating what all of y'all should believe and feel. I'm just stating about how do y'all not still see? I thought we were talking about city buildings, not walking down the street. We're talking about being in public. Be that walking down the street. Be that, because I know walking down the street ain't the same as being on Fountain Square. Well, that's not the same as being in the park. Well, that's not the same as being in the library. Well, that's not the same as being in City Hall. If it's public and publicly accessible, it's all the same. It's all the same. Oh, you're against being racially profiled. Are you really? Because you just finished saying if they ask you for your ID, you don't have a problem showing them your ID because all your stuff is clear. So what difference do it make if they ask your ID because they racially profiling you, or if they ask you your ID because you want to walk into a building that you have every right to walk into? Oh my goodness. They'll just make something up to cover themselves. Just tuning in. I might have missed what y'all talking about. Right now, we're just talking about, we started off talking about the gun laws, and I transitioned into wanting my rights to be respected, and feeling like I should have a right to do in public things that I have a right to do in public. And I was drawing a comparison between that and showing my ID in public, just this taking away of our rights, slowly stripping our rights away. And it seems like a number of people, in particular, a number of people watching this right now, they don't value their rights all that much. And they think I'm crazy for valuing mine. Even though on one hand they'll say, hey, look, I don't care about showing my ID because my ID is clean. All right. So if the police walk up to you and ask you to see your ID, but that's different. But I thought you didn't care about showing your ID because your ID is clean. Well, it is. And so I don't care about showing my ID to enter City Hall to the police officer that's demanding it. But I thought you didn't want the police to be able to demand it. Well, the police in City Hall can demand it, but the police on the street can't demand it. It's different, Emanuel. Don't you know that? So police demanding ID because you're in a public space that you're supposed to be or that you're allowed to be is different than police demanding ID because you're in a public space that you're allowed to be. Got you. They sounded the same to me when I said them. Public space, I'm allowed to be. Police demanding my ID. Public space, I'm allowed to be. Police demanding my ID. I got to switch hands. City Hall. Public space that I'm allowed to be. Police demanding my ID. The street. Public place that I'm allowed to be. Police demanding my ID. They look the same to me. I don't understand the difference, but apparently there is. Apparently there's a difference. Glenn says, of course it's different. He can't tell me what the difference is. He just keeps saying it's different. He just keeps saying it's different, but he can't tell me what the difference is. Somebody said the difference is they do business there. They do business in the hallway? Shouldn't they do business where they're supposed to do business? Glenn says, look the same. Yeah, you crazy. All right. Public space where I'm allowed to be. I'm only going to do it one more time and then I'll move on. Public space where I'm allowed to be. Police demand ID. Public space where I'm allowed to be. Police demand ID. Now, I challenge you, Glenn. I didn't say it this last time. I'm going to mix them up. Mix them up. Which is which? Which is City Hall and which is the public street? Place, public, where I'm allowed to be. Police demand an ID. Which is which? Because since they're so different, you can explain to me which is which. Come on. Which is which? Left hand, right hand. Left hand, right hand. Which is which? Which of these is City Hall and which of these is the public street? Tell me. Come on. Tell me. Come on. Which one? Exactly. Because they're not different. They are the same. Crystal says, let's move on. Well, I'm going to move on because it's about time for me to get out of here. But I think it's important that we revisit this from time to time because apparently some of y'all, not all of y'all, but apparently some of y'all do have some good old-fashioned slave training. Some good old-fashioned slave training. You can't tell them apart, Tria. Tria say mix them up again. You can't tell them apart, but it's clearly different. I'm crazy, and I don't have common sense. They're not even close. Far apart. I can get them real close. See, you can't tell me the difference because it's not one. But I gotta get ready to get out of here. Dee says, I agree. Why am I giving you my ID to enter? What if you don't have one? Do you get turned away? Probably. And I guarantee these people think it's okay. These people think it's okay. Hold on. Maurice says, let's go fight for our rights. There are people who are actually doing that. That's why y'all don't understand this stuff. Like, I'm not just saying this stuff because I'm making something up. There are people who are out there fighting for your right to go into public spaces and not be accosted by police and arrested and forced to show ID and all of that kind of stuff. There are people, cities are being sued almost on a daily basis because they're doing this simple thing. That's what I'm not making it up. I know what I'm talking about. Crystal says she takes offense to that. What do you take offense to, Crystal? I'm not sure what you're taking offense to. Hold on, let me scroll through these. Dee Dee says, yeah, just like I'm a passenger seat and the driver get pulled over, I'm not giving my ID. For what? Well, some of these people would say, if your ID is clean and clear, what you got to hide? Why not? Public government buildings are targets, plain and simple. All right, and so let's buy that. Although I don't, but let's buy that. Public government buildings are targets. What is me showing you my ID gonna do? I mean, I was intentionally quiet there because me showing you my ID ain't gonna do nothing. Crystal Smith says, slave training? Really? Yes, really. Slave training. Give up your rights without question. And actually question people who don't want to give up theirs. Why don't you have the same energy when it comes to protecting your DNA? Well, I do. Nobody should be able to force me to give up my DNA. Now, if I voluntarily give it up, that's one thing. But yeah, no one should be able to force me to give up my DNA. Same energy. Exact same energy. Slave training is when you feel you have to do everything master say, even if it's against your rights. Yes, the master, here's my ID. That's true. Most people are less likely to commit offense when identified. Where'd you get that from? Who told you that? Trust me, if I wanted to walk up in there and commit some sort of horrible thing, they gonna I function under the premise that they gonna catch me anyway. So knowing my identity ain't gonna stop me from doing it. Um, if you get arrested, you're giving it up. Period. Well, yeah, yeah, that's true. I don't know what the point it was in you saying that, but that's true. Slave training. Okay, Mr. Wise Decision Maker. Thank you. I do make wise decisions. The buzz forced you to give up your DNA twice a week. No, they didn't. They didn't force me to do anything. I could have at any time left. I wasn't forced to do anything. When they, attempted to force me to do something, when they attempted to force me to do something, I left because I wasn't willing to give that up. Common sense, bro. Likely that's not common sense. It's not common sense. Glenn says, we noticed. He noticed that I make wise decisions. Thank you. It's been quite obvious that I make some very wise decisions. Crystal says, well, good talk. It's nice to not always agree. Thanks. and look, Crystal, I'm not saying you shouldn't give up yours, even though your logic was a little shaky there. I'm saying that people shouldn't be forced to give up theirs if they don't want to. Now, if you want to walk in, then when I was younger, and then I do have to go. When I was younger, I was 18, I think. I might have been 19. I lived in Alabama, and I wanted to go to, I can't remember what the name of the club is. And I walked into the club, 19. I knew you had to be 21 to get in. And I was, I'm not a clubber anyway. And walked in, and the dude said, he let some people walk by, but I had already taken out my ID. So when I walk in, I kind of show him the ID, and then I go to walk by, and he looked at it, and he was like, "You're not old enough to come in. You got to go." I brought that up to say, I voluntarily gave my ID to that dude. If you want to walk into City Hall and volunteer your ID, I don't know why you're holding it with two hands. If you want to volunteer to get that dude your ID or that woman your ID, I'm not mad at you. But if you riding hard for them to force everybody to give up their ID to be in a public space where they're allowed to be, that I have a problem with. But you can do it, and I don't have a problem with that. Like if you walking down the street and police just come up to you and say, "Give me some ID," and here you go. I don't have a problem with that either. You got a right to do that. But I'm not going to say, well, why not? Just let them do it. What do it hurt? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Um, uh, if you physically go pay your water bill, then I'm certain that you have conducted SSA and IRS business in person. I'm certain you had to show your ID if you entered the federal building. That's it, Emanuel. And you're saying that to say what? That because they do it at the federal building, that makes it okay? Because they violate our rights here, that makes it okay to violate our rights there? Is that the point that you're making? Because that's what I get from that. Well, if they can violate your rights, then you shouldn't have a problem with them violating your rights. Because then where does that end? Because then what, in 2 years? Well, if they violate your rights at City Hall, then they should be able to violate your rights at the courthouse. And then what, 6 months later? Well, if they violating your rights at the courthouse, then they should be able to violate your rights when you go into a police station. And then a year later, well, if they violate your right at the police station, then they should be able to violate your right when you go to pay your water bill over there on Spring Grove. I don't understand the logic of that. Instead of saying, well, since they violate your rights, then let them violate your rights, you should be saying, none of y'all should be violating our rights, and we should be standing against y'all doing it. Y'all set a bad precedent. I don't understand. I don't understand. Oh, boy. Are you okay with presenting your ID when you pick up a kid from public school? I've never presented my ID to pick up a kid from public school. So, I don't know. Maybe. But here's the difference. You shouldn't have to show your ID to go to a public school to pick up a child. If that makes sense. See, there's a difference. Okay, I want child A. All right, show me some ID to get child A. Here's my ID, which proves that I'm related to child A for whatever reason. That's different than I'm coming in the building. Well, you got to show some ID to get in this building. But I'm coming to pick up you got to show some ID to pick up. I'm not coming here to pick up a child. I'm coming here well, you got to show some ID before you get in this building. Those are different. So that's the premise is different. But like I said, I've never had to show ID to pick up one of my children ever. So I'm not exactly sure where exactly it is that they're doing this. Jerica come through with critical thinking. But again, now that's not the same. That would be like if I went to City Hall and I wanted to get a record from my, like my personal my personal water bill history. And they said, well, you got to show me some ID. Then I should have to show ID because I'm trying to retrieve something that I have to prove who I am to retrieve it. That would be, in my mind, more akin to showing ID to actually pick up a kid. See what I'm saying? What? You want a water bill? Whose water bill you want? I want Glenn's. Here, take it. No, show me some ID. You ain't Glenn. You can't get his water bill. That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. So yeah, that is totally different. That is totally different. Yes, people are still paying their water bill at Spring Grove. How many times have I brought it to a close? Oh, I'm late. I'm hearing it's against your rights to ID someone at City Hall. Yeah, I believe it's a violation of your rights. Yes. And I shouldn't, if I'm in a public space that I'm allowed to be, I should not have to give up my ID, just like on the street. There are public schools where you have to present your ID to gain access to the main office. Okay, you're telling me to say what? That's okay? So then, look, based on some of y'all logic, I know I got to get out of here. This is like the 5th time I've said I got to get out of here. Based on some of y'all logic, well, since they do ID you to get into the federal courthouse, into the federal building, then they should have a right to ID you to get into City Hall. And like I said, somebody will say, well, since they do ID you to get into City Hall, they should be able to ID you to get into the courthouse. Now, would y'all be okay with that? Just curious. Would y'all be okay with that? You got to show ID to get into the courthouse. Would y'all be okay with that? There is business done at the courthouse. Courthouses can easily be targets. All of that same stuff that y'all said. Would y'all be against somebody, you having to show ID to get into the courthouse? Would y'all be okay with that? Again, because you just showed up, Wyatt. You just showed up. He says, the Justice Center is a public building. Should it not be policy that they ID people? They don't ID me. I've been to the Justice Center, actually, both ways. They didn't ID me to walk into the building. I actually went down there to pay, was it a ticket? To pay something. I did not have to show ID to get in to pay the ticket because I wasn't going to a secured area. I wasn't going to a secured area. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if I'm going to a secured area, then got to do what I got to do. But if I'm not going to, exactly, well, Wyatt, you're talking about going to visit someone in a secure area. That's not what I'm talking about. See, when I talk about City Hall, I'm not talking about going into a secure area, climbing behind the little thing where you pay your bill. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in the hallway of City Hall where I'm allowed to be. See, you missed all of that. You missed all of that. Just in a public space. So I'm asking y'all, it's a simple question. And then I really do have to go for the 8th time. Should you have to show ID to get into the courthouse? I'm just asking. For those of y'all who believe it's fine, should you have to show ID to get into the courthouse? City Hall is not a secure area. City Hall has secure areas, but it's not a secure area. Keisha says no. Keisha, I bet they think you're wrong. I bet they think you're wrong because they do it at the federal building. And if they do it at the federal building, and of course they do it, sometimes some schools do it for you to get into the main office. So they do it to get into the main office at some school buildings. Why not do it at the courthouse? Are the homeless allowed at City Hall? I believe so. I believe so. If you have a court date and you can't get in due to lack of ID, then what? I guess it don't matter. They do it at the federal building. They do it. And plus, who don't have ID? Who don't have ID? What if you got some city business to take care of and you don't have ID? Then what? Randall says they don't refuse entrance at City Hall. I believe this is just a safety measure. And again, my understanding was that they refused entrance. That it had been dealt with and they won't refuse entrance anymore. But my understanding was that, yes, they did refuse entrance. And then somebody mentioned it and that was done away with. Which is the way it should be. But if people would have just accepted that, which of course they didn't. Which of course they didn't. If people would have just accepted that, then this would have went away like an hour ago. But people didn't accept it. People, they just have to make excuses for why it's okay for people to violate our rights. But all right, y'all, I really do have to go this time because now that Wyatt is on, he keep claiming that I ain't gonna never end the show at 3 o'clock. So he puts pressure on me to end the show at 3 o'clock. So I have to get out of here. I have to get out of here. Just my last plea would just be people, take your rights a little more seriously, please. Because it's okay for everybody to do everything until you don't want to, and then you get arrested for doing something that you had every right to do. Don't be on the wrong side of justice on this. Please rethink your position if you think it's okay to force people to ID absent some reasonable suspicion of some sort of criminal activity. And no, Wyatt, I have to go. You ain't gonna mock me no more than you already mocked me for not getting off the air. I must go. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. That's really it. I got some stuff that I have to go do today, so I really do have to get out of here. Until next time, it's been the afternoon experiment. I'm Emanuel Livingston. I'm out, y'all. Peace.